Hey everybody. Since this is hopefully the start and the first of an ongoing series, let me take a little bit of time to introduce myself and tell you what's going on here. I am Burley Adopter. I am also known as First Person Shooter as a cosplay photographer on various parts of the internets. The editor in chief of Nerd Caliber, Rodney, is my name. And this is the first in a series of playthroughs of the game Conan Exiles. I've been playing this game for a few years, playing on a solo server, and I never bothered recording any of this stuff. And I said, looking at some of the large number of content creators out there for Conan Exiles specifically, I said, why not? This is content. I'm doing this stuff anyway. I might as well make something out of it. So this is going to be a start right at the beginning playthrough of the game. And if you are an experienced Conan Exiles player, probably an awful lot of this is going to be really boring. But I would advise you to watch if you want to, because I really suck at this. I'm 64 years old. My reaction time, my eye-hand coordination is no longer anything close to what it used to be back in the day. And I have familial tremors, which means whenever things get intense or I get particularly excited or nervous, like say being ganged up on by a bunch of pirates, my hands start to shake. So if you're coming to here expecting to see some really impressive gameplay, you ain't gonna get it. What you might get, hopefully, is the fun of watching somebody try to make this game work the best for what they've got as far as tools and experience. So let's look at my character. This is about as close as I can get to me in the Conan creator. The character creator is not that in-depth. There aren't a whole lot of slider choices. This face is pretty close, not as wide as mine, a little harsher, not as many wrinkles at this point, which is kind of too bad. It's kind of tough to get the eyes right. They're about as droopy as I can make them. I did put a little red eyeshadow in there for the sort of roomy look around my eyes that I have. Beard's pretty spot on. And I guess the neck and the back of the head, that's just about dead right. As far as the body itself, this is about as close as you can make a fat character in this game. If you don't know me, I'm quite overweight. I did kind of look like this back in my mid-20s to early 30s, but that's 30 plus years ago. So also to make an extended lower belly like the character has here, you basically have to rotate the pelvis forward, which gives this character quite a badonkadonk, which I certainly don't have. But otherwise, it's close enough. Everything else is not bad. In particular, the shins. I have just ridiculously large calves, so I went that way. So, to start the game, you start off here in this desert on this broken roadway. The first thing that you will probably discover is... I got to get out of this. There we go. And look, I've gained a level just by standing around. That is something that happens particularly early on. You will gain experience just by basically being alive. It does speed things up a little bit in these very early levels. Soon it becomes meaningless. You're not going to tick over a level just by standing around. As I approach this thing, you see it starts to glow, and I've got to press E to interact. I've got my volume turned down quite a bit, so you're not actually probably going to be able to hear what this thing is saying. This is the creators of all of this stuff, the Giant Race, who's basically just telling you this bracelet you can see on my character's left arm means that you can't escape the exiled lands. You're stuck here. There's this green energy barrier that surrounds the entire game, and if you pass through it, you'll die. And that's it. So we'll avoid that. There's more of those. There are tons of those lore stones all around, and it actually explains the lore of the game and the history of the giant race and their interaction with humans and so on. It's pretty interesting. And I'll click on any one that I run across. So you see you got plants here. I am going to use the E key on my keyboard to gather plant fiber off of these plants. I will eventually need it. If you look in the upper right corner of the screen, this is what's called a journey. There are no quests in this game, but there are journeys, and the journeys will take you to the stages of, or through the stages of things you need to do to survive as you get into tougher and tougher areas. So this first one, Survivor, it tells me I need to investigate that smoke nearby. But I'm also going to grab a bunch of this plant fiber because I'm going to be needing it to make clothing or armor right off the bat. But also, if you look at the one slot on my hotbar down at the very bottom middle of the screen, I've picked up a bunch of insects, or handfuls of insects. That's food. I'll be able to eat that and replenish my health before I get into... So now it says I need to search for supplies before I get into having to eat that. You can loot from this chest. Oh, I used it. I clicked use instead of take all. Alright. Anyway, so I just completed another journey step, which was eat and drink. I kind of really didn't want to do that. I wanted to save that, but... See, I told you I suck at this. So I'm going to run around and grab a little bit more plant fiber, which is the current journey step that I have. So that'll kick this journey step off my list. And it also brought me up a level. It got me more things to eat, more bugs to eat, as you can see down there. It'll be a long time before I need to worry about that. As you can see, my health bar down at that in the heads-up display, the UI display is 100%. Or my health is 100% as well. My hunger is at 100%. I am fully satiated. I don't need any food right now. And it takes a while for that to drop. The more I do things, the faster it drops, and I'm going to be gathering stuff. I think I've got all the plants from around here. So I'll do this next journey step, which you can see up there says craft and wear clothing. So I'm going to put something on over this loincloth that I'm wearing. I hit the tab key. And this shows me things that I can craft without having to build a workbench or a crafting station or anything like that. And the more things I learn, this will fill up with more stuff. Right now, you can see it's some simple tools. How to make twine out of the fiber. But right now, I'm going to craft the shoes, the gloves, the pantaloons, and the tunic. And the gloves. Apparently I didn't make the gloves. There we go. Alright, so now I am wearing my clothing, and I actually have an armor level. You can see right here it is a whopping 5. Which isn't going to protect me from anything. Now it says it wants me to spend attribute points, and I will. If I click tab, it'll show me how close I am up here, and I'm not very close to level 4, so I might as well spend those attribute points now, or very shortly. While I'm up here, I'm also going to grab a bunch of, I'm going to grab a bunch of stones. I will have a journey step in a little bit where I have to grab the stones, but I figure I might as well get a few in advance so I can make all of the tools that I want as soon as I start making one of the tools that the journey step will require me to make. Better to have it all ready to go than to just, blindly follow the journey step. Of course, that means this is pretty damn boring. And, alright, that's enough. See, now it says, my throat feels dry. And if you can see down in my display down there, I'm down to 25% thirst, satiation, so I'll drink from my water skin, which you start with. You can see it's going up over here. It's about 73%, and it's close enough to 100%. I'm not going to waste any more water to go, 3 ticks. All right, what it says now, I'm still on spend attribute points. All right, so click the G on the keyboard, and here you have your attributes. Strength is strength. You can see up there, it affects the damage you do with strength-based weapons, slightly increases your weight carrying capacity. Agility affects agility-based weapons, slightly increases your stamina. Vitality increases the size of your health pool, that's it. Authority has to do with your followers. That's one of the problematic things about Conan Exiles, and we'll get to that later on, but to properly play this game, you are going to need to recruit followers, which the game calls thralls. And if you know your Old English or your Norse, you know what a thrall is. And how you get them is pretty much just like the game, or like the movie Conan the Barbarian, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. So calling them followers or companions or all the other things that it calls them, that's not really what they are. I'm not going to use the term if I can avoid it, because it might get this demonetized. But thralls is, means the same thing. Expertise is your weight carrying capacity. I start with grit. Grit is your stamina pool. It increases your armor, and it increases the number of attacks you're able to get in before you run out of stamina. So if I go back now to my character, you can see I've gone up to 29 in armor from 5, just by increasing my grit, my toughness, and that also increases the stamina pool down there, that yellow bar. So I can now I can now attack more things. That's not the way I want to put this. I can now do more attacks for more time, which is how you survive. You can either really jack up your vitality and have so much health and armor that you're a tank, or you kill things before they kill you. I'm the kill things before they kill you guy. You can see here now in my survivor journey, I'm in search for more survivors. Just continue up the broken highway here. And notice also that I'm starting to get into seeing these branches. I'm going to pick those up as well, because you will need those, and I will need a journey step very shortly to pick up branches, so I'm not going to pick up a ton of them. Well, let's get up here to ticking off this search for more quote-unquote survivors. The first time I played through, that guy scared the bejesus out of me. But that demon bat doesn't attack you, he runs away. So here's your other survivor. He has a book here where he made notes. I'm going to click on it. It's going to play in the background. Maybe you can read it as I'm walking around. But basically what it does is tells you that he told his men to do what the journey steps are now having me do. Make weapons out of sticks and stones. So right now it says gather stones. So that is what we'll do. And now it's moved to gather branches, so we'll move on to that.
I've yet to meet a beast that liked fire, or the bite of the axe.
And this is going to be fairly boring. I might wind up speeding through all of this. Or I might just get to the point where I can do what it wants me to do and then go back to picking up branches, which is, like I said, very boring. So right now it wants me to craft a stone pick. So again, I hit tab, that brings up the things I can make menu and my inventory and so on. Oh, I'm going to swap my inventory over here. You can sort inventory, and I'm going to go to heaviest first. That way I know if I need to dump things because I've got too much on me and my carrying capacity has reached its limit, which slows you down and you'll die, then I know what I need to drop. So, stone pick. And it's going to drop it into my hotbar automatically. I'm also going to make a stone axe. You can see I've run out of branches already. But the journey step now wants me to harvest stone with my pick. So hit my hotkey. You see there are stones and then there are stone construction. I can harvest stone out of one of these big boulders just by whacking at it with a stone pick. I can't out of this, even though it's clearly made of stone. So there are environmental structures that you can't do anything to. It's pretty easy to tell, that's obviously a rock that you can attack, harvest stuff from it. There are also apparently, like, in theory, if I had enough branches to make a skinning knife, well, actually, I could use a hatchet. If I had made this corpse, or if something in the landscape that is active had made this corpse, like this, I stumble across a dead body that had been killed by something, I could harvest stuff from it, hide and human flesh, but I can't. So that is also an environmental thing. I need to go pick up more branches. I'm also going to grab more plant fiber. I'll keep talking, but this is going to get really boring, and I imagine I'm going to just skip right through this because there's not much you can say about this part of it. You're just running around picking up dead sticks or harvesting plant fiber. I got to say, one of the things that I really wish one of the updates they would do is be able to make a stone or bone even sickle before you're able to make an iron sickle or a steel sickle much later on. A sickle would allow you to harvest these things so much more efficiently as opposed to grabbing one piece of plant fiber every time you reach toward it. But that's not how the game works right now. And you do what you can with what you got. It puts me up to what, level 5? Alright, it gives me a couple more attribute points, which I will spend. And grab some more. Although now that I think about it, since I inadvertently ate that, one of the main reasons for grabbing all of the plants up here is to get the insects. I don't really need that. And you see my hunger has only dropped down to 95% sated. I'm not going to need to eat those insects during the rest of this playthrough, which will probably only last until the end of this survivor journey before I stop it and then save the next steps for another video. So yeah, so I'm going to do this next step. I guess I do need it for craft a stone weapon, or the branches anyway. Alright, so if I open up tab, you see I don't know any weapons yet. I don't know how to make any weapons yet. So I have to go to knowledge. While I'm already in here, you can click through to any of the various things on this upper menu bar. So I could click to knowledge, or I get out of it and I hit the O key and that brings up the knowledge. So you've got just this general list of things. You've got construction, decoration, survival, which is where most of your stuff is, weapons, which is what I want now, armor, religion, crafting altars. I am an acolyte or a worshiper of Mitra, so I automatically know how to make the first altar of Mitra, or the acolyte of Mitra. Sorcery, which hasn't been opened yet. Ancient knowledge, which apparently I know some of. And then there's a search function for you to be able to search all this stuff. So, going back to weapons, I want to... So, weapons cost... Knowledge costs knowledge points. I have 5 knowledge points available. I've spent 0. These things, as you can see down here, down in the lower right, don't cost anything to unlock. So I am going to unlock all of them that I can, whether I'm going to use them later on or not. And I can either click that button down in the lower right or just double click on the symbol itself. I am also going to click on Archer, which teaches me how to make bows, and it unlocks the Archer journey, which I'll be using later on. Archery is super useful in drawing. If you've ever played any kind of game, drawing enemies without drawing an entire crowd of enemies is very helpful. And that's what archery will do. So now I need to craft that stone weapon. I go back into tab, and you can see now I have all of these weapons that I learned how to make. I'm going to go for stone daggers. And you notice right over here, it's actually automatically making the twine I need for that, taking out of the plant fiber. That'll happen for most of the things you need to make really early on, but pretty quickly that becomes something that you can't automatically do, and you're going to have to make the twine manually. Not a big problem. So you can see up there, follow the road out of the desert. I'm going to bring up the map. So this long river here that we're just south of is called, by people who play the game, Noob River. That's not its name. It doesn't actually have a name, but it's where you start out as a noob. And you can see I'm pretty far in the desert part of this, which ends right about here. I'm pretty far off to the east of it. And I actually want to build my first base and set myself up way over here on this island. Over here. So I'm going to head over that way, which will take me out of the desert. I mean, eventually I'll reach a point where I have, quote-unquote, followed the road out of the desert. And I'll tick off this particular journey step, see, right now. Now it wants me to craft a bedroll. And these are the bedrolls here. The reason you want a bedroll is because it gives you a spawn point when you die. Not if you die, when you die. Because you will die. I'm going to replace it as soon as I get to the other island. So I'm just going to dump it somewhere up here. I don't really want to respawn all the way this far back, but honestly, it doesn't matter. It's already in my hotbar on 5. There. Okay, now it wants me to slay an enemy. And I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it with the enemies that you run across pretty much down by where I want to set up my base, imps. Imps are the easiest thing to kill in the game. When you're this early on, that's the thing you want to do. All of your early journey steps that require you to kill something, kill imps. They're just so easy. All right, so again, I've got my throat feels dry. I'm going to take a drink. There we go. Pretty close to 100%. You'll notice just this running has brought my hunger down to 74%. And I know that's not the correct way to describe it. My hunger isn't down. My satiation is down to 73% now. But it's really hard to say that. So I'm just going to call it, say my hunger is up or my hunger is down. You can see ahead of me there's this big structure. That's something that we're going toward. There's some lore up there. It's pretty interesting. Looks really cool. It's a really neat part of the game. You see there are multiple of these roads that you can start at. I've played this where I've started on this road before, just recently. And I'm not sure why or how you get the option, if it's an option at all, to start there. I think I'll cut through here. And since I need to slay an enemy, I'll draw my weapons. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go back around because it's easier if I do a little bit of climbing somewhere further here to very quickly get to the imps as opposed to running all the way around the bridge. I think this could have gave away what that thing is. It's the remnants of an enormous stone bridge. Right, here's another reason why stamina is important. Your stamina drops as you're climbing. And having a higher stamina pool means you can climb up onto higher things before falling off.
Yeah.
Alright, there's an imp. I'm going to let him hit me because... Alright, now I'm going to run away. Watch. He just died. The reason you use stone daggers is the heavy attacks, which are the right mouse button, if you're using keyboard and mouse, will inflict a bleed on your enemy, and they can bleed out. So you can hit them with a couple of attacks and then just run away and watch them die. Alright, now it wants me to craft rough wraps, which is a healing wraps. I'm going to do that 3 times because it makes 3 every time you craft it, so it'll give me 9. I'm also going to take it out of the 5 slot and put it in the 8 slot, which is where I traditionally put things to heal. You can see my health bar, the red bar, has a little bit of, it's reduced slightly, so I am going to heal. Now it also wants me to harvest meat from a corpse, and I can do that with almost any of the tools that I have, but I'm actually going to make a stone cleaver and a stone skinning knife. The skinning knife will get me meat as well and hide. The cleaver will get me just meat. I'm going to go with the skinning knife because I really don't need or want feral flesh cooked meat. It's called shredded roast. Alright, you can see we got another guy up here. Bring up the daggers. Hit him with bleed a couple of times and then just run away. And before he gets back, he dies. And another one. Now there's one way down there. I'm going to save him because I'm going to need him for some journey steps. But there's one up here. Alright. These things are ghosts. These ghosts appear to tell you there's something interesting to do nearby where you are. He's not very subtle. He's staring right at this. There's a lore stone here. You know, you're going to want to read it. Or activate it. Now, the reason I wanted to kill this guy is, you notice that volatile gland. Those things are very important later on.
Slave, know this as the road of refuge.
See, this really cool bridge here, which
Weary and harried.
these ghosts are showing you basically what he's saying, that, you know, humans are refugees who came into the exiled lands, and this giant race took them in, and they just couldn't handle all of the human refugees that came in, and things got bad.
We could not clothe you all, nor would we offer you of our
And you can see
or our land. In time we slept
there's no bridge part there where the ghosts are walking. And we'll get to why that happened at another lodestone on the other side of the river.
to dominate you. Slaves to our whim, your treacherous species will never betray us again.
Yeah, so what the giants did eventually was enslave all the humans. Oh, hey, he came back because I wandered far enough out of his zone that he respawned. So we'll take advantage of that. I guess that's a nice glitch if you want to do it. If you need to get volatile glands, just come up here, walk all the way to the edge of the broken bridge, and walk back. Alright, so here's another set of ghosts, and they're showing there's a book there. And you can see up as I go off it, and then I come back to it, it says press E to interact. Alright, well, it's not doing it again. And I've learned this new emote, how to cross my arms. Isn't that exciting? So it's getting dark. The journey step now says to go refill my water skin. So I'm going to head down here. This is a safe path. There's really nothing that's going to possibly hurt you or attack you down along this pathway. You will see ghosts who, if you started over here for some reason, they'll show you that you should go up there to learn all that new and interesting stuff. So I'm going to head down here to the water to get a drink and refill my water skin. That's the island that I want to be on. So to drink, you just look at the water and press the interaction key, the E key. And the same thing to fill up your water skin. You click on the skin while you're looking at the water and press use, and it doesn't drink from it, it fills it up. Now it says unlock the primitive cook knowledge. I'm going to do once I get over here. A little bit of swimming. You can swim underwater. You have to hold your breath. So again, go to O for knowledge, under survivor, primitive cook. Now I know how to make a campfire. To make it, I need wood. I did make a hatchet. There's a tree. You know what? I might just pause here before I make the campfire, because once I make the campfire and eat the meat, that's the end of the journey, and that was basically my plan, is to end this video there. But I might take a lesson from Angar, who basically waits and cuts when it's dark like this, because it's pretty dark and you can't really see anything. And then finishes the rest of the journey steps or whatever he's doing on his videos during the day. I've adjusted my server so that the night zips right by. If you notice how quickly the minutes are ticking by down there in my little clock in my UI heads-up display under the moon symbol that's all the way over to the left, the minutes are just zipping right by. Because, frankly, I don't like night. Oh, you hear that hyena? This will be interesting. So right now the game has an event going on where hyenas will just suddenly show up in the middle of the night and attack you, and you need to get stuff from them to do the various aspects of this particular event. I haven't done it. I'm not that interested in it, but we'll see whether or not the were-hyena attacks me. You see how quickly the night's zipping by. It just went from 10 o'clock to it's now after midnight. Come on, hyena boy. If it shows up, and it should, I haven't created a base. If you are in your base or really near it, it won't show up. That's sort of a protected area. But I'm just on an island. There's no reason why it wouldn't appear here. But if and when it does, it will show up with a snarl. I'll just give you that up there is the campfire of a couple of exiles, NPCs that will attack you if you get too close. But they're also really low level usually. Alright, keep hearing hyena noises. but I'm not hearing the snarl. It's 2 in the morning already. It's almost 3 in the morning. Maybe he doesn't show up until you hit a certain level? Yeah, once that moon sets, it's going to get pretty dark until it starts lightening up with sunrise. Although it's almost 4 in the morning, so yeah, you can see we're already into the gloaming. It's starting to brighten up a bit. And my stomach hurts. I don't really have anything to eat. Oh, I've got the bugs. I guess I can eat some bugs. There. I'm almost at 50% hunger. And while I'm here and waiting for the sun to come up a bit, I'll go ahead and grab some aloe, because I'm going to want to make some weak aloe extract, which is a healing potion. Don't think there's one. Oh, there are. Now the question is, how far over here do I want to go? Because there's a crocodile over on that island. And if you get too close, you will reach his aggro range and he'll come after you. Crocodiles at level 7 are tough. Not something that can't be attacked and killed, but they're tough. Alright, I'm going to say this is bright enough at this point where I'm going to finish out this step. So, I need to make a campfire, which is right here, just stone and wood. I need to place that campfire, which I'm going to put there on the 7 hotbar. To place anything in the environment, you have to have it on a hotbar so you can actually activate it. Now I need to cook some raw meat, which means I need to put in the wood that I chopped and the feral flesh. Now you can see up here, it shows you how much time you have left if you burn all of the wood or whatever the fuel is that you have in here. It will stop if you're cooking something, but now I take that out of here, and the journey step has completed. I've cooked the raw meat and knows that I've done that because it's now in my inventory. I can fire this up, and if I want just the light and heat of a campfire, it will keep burning for 9 minutes and X number of seconds, but I don't want it to. Don't want to waste that wood. Alright, now it wants me to eat a cooked meal. So I click on that food, click use, and survivor journey completed. Now that gives me, if I hit J to bring up the journeys, that gives me this, supply materials, which I'm going to claim, but I'm not going to open yet because that's fairly heavy. And the next step that I'm going to be doing, the next journey, is survival shelter, which means basically just building a shelter. And that's going to require, or that will require some of the material I have, but I also need to make something to put some of it in. Otherwise, I'm going to be drastically over encumbered and not be able to move around very well. So I'm going to call that a video at this point, and we will hopefully see you in the next video. I hope you like this. I hope you learned something if you're new to this. If you're someone who's a friend of the show, friend of Nerd Caliber, and you just liked hearing me talk about stuff, hey, come on back. If you're somebody who are just waiting for me to do something really terrible because I suck at this gaming, then come on back too. But otherwise, we'll see you at an upcoming video. I'll probably do these once a week. So stay safe and have fun. Bye-bye.